korban. So we see that Abaye is not like Ravami, right? Ravami said you only have to bring one, but and Abaye gave a reason for Ravami, but the Gemara says Abaye himself didn't hold like that, right? Lidvarov, the Ravami Kamar, according to Ravami, the pasuk that explains it is the lo shtachavela and below savdei. But v'lei lo svirli, but he himself doesn't hold like that. Gufa, Amar Abaye, sholosh ishtachavos b'avodah zarah lama. The Torah forbids ishtachavot 3 places. Achas l'chadarka, achas shaloch chadarka, achas l'chalim. So the Gemara says, what do you mean? L'chadarka, you don't need a special pasuk. Because it says, Echaya avdu agoyima ele et Elohehem ve'asekem gamani. Nafka. So you don't need, it already says the normal way of worshiping of what is already going to be chayiv for. Ela achas kedarka v'shelo kedarka. That its avoda is through an honorary way, but not with bowing. V'achas l'shechlo kedarka, the non, like we explained by the Baal Pa'or, doing it not according to the derech. V'achas l'chalik. I want to tell you that you bring multiple korbanos. Then, when the Mishnah said that you're chayv skila, hamakable alav be'eloha, somebody who accepted upon him this idol as his god, or ha'oimer lo eli ata, he says to the idol, you are my god. Amrav Nachman, Amrav Ravu, Amrav. Kivin sha'omer li eli ata, with the dibur itself, without any action, chayv. Now, Lamai, to what case is Rav referring to? If we're talking about to chayv the guy Misa, if you did a bezaydin, so masnisani. Well, the Mishnah already said that. Why would he repeat himself? Ella korban, to be machayiv a person who said Eli Ata, to be chayiv achatas. So, afilu rabbanon, is that going to work according to Chachamim? Vatanya, eino chayiv el adavar sheyesh b'maisa. To be chayiv a korban, chatas, it's only on something that you do a maisa. Kigon, zibuach, shechting, kitur, lighting incense, nisuch, pouring wine, ishtachavo bowing. But just dibur, the chachamim are not going to say you're chayiv a korban for that. Amrish Lakish, Man Tana, who is the Tana who just quoted this brayso that we just said? Rabbi Kiva. The Amar lo be'inin maisa. Any action, including dibur, is enough. Michlal Rabbanan Savri, that be'inin maisa. So, and Rabbi Kiva might say Ishtachavo itself is not a maisa. So certainly a mirror would not be a maisa. Kikoma Rav Nami is according to Rabbi Kiva. Well, Rabbi Kiva Pshita, it's the same thing as Hainu Kimagadev, like when you curse Hashem. There, Rabbi Kiva also is Machai below Maisa, so what's the big Chiddush that you're going to tell me here it's according to Rabbi Kiva? So it's a Chiddush. Because Madasim Adkan Loi, Machai Rabbi Kiva Korban Ela B'Magadev. Rabbi Kiva is Machai Korban Chatas B'Magadev T'chsiv Bei, Kares. It says Beferish Kares, so we know the general rule. Whenever you do a Maisa that gives you Kares B'Shoigig, you bring a Korban Chat. Aval Hacha, when somebody just uses words to say, you are my God, Deloksiv Bok Kares, it doesn't say Beferish that you get Kares, maybe Emelo. So we have to be taught Iskushi Iskush, that the Torah compares them through Hekesh. Because it says, Asulahem Egel Masechad, Vayishtachvu lo, vayizbuchu lo, vayomru, by the Egel Hazav, they just said, Eile Elohecha Yisrael, Asher Elucha Meretz Mitzrayim. So here we say that we see by shechting and amiras as the same din. Amar Rav Yochanan, Ilmole vav shebe'alucha. If it wasn't for the vav in the word he'alucha, because they said it plurally, nischayvu sonem shel Yisrael klai, all of Klai Yisrael would have been destroyed. Because not only 3,000 people were killed by the Leviim, only they were koifer. So the Gemara says kitanoi. This point is about machlokes tanoi. Acherim oimrim ilmolei vav shebe'alucha nischayvu sonem shel Yisrael klaya. If it wasn't for the vav and be'alucha, everybody would have been chayv misa. Amar Reb Shimon ben Yochai, v'lo kol mishatev shem shamayim v'davar acher nekar min ha'olam. But the people who went along with the Egel, even though it was shituf, you're still uprooted from the world. Because it says, Zoveach l'olim yacharam, biltil Hashem l'vado, unless you worship God himself. So shituf was terrible. And it's not so pashut to say that they didn't get punished by being wiped out. Elamat tamid lo asher alucha, in the Lashon Rabim, lamdainu, she'ivu elos harbe. They didn't just want to worship the Egel, they wanted to worship other gods. But the Mishnah says, if you kissed it, you hugged it, you cleaned in front of it, you washed it, you're not chayv misa, you're just malchus. Kiyazar Avdimi Amar Rabbi Lazar, al kulam loike chutz minoider b'shmo v'makayim b'shmo. If you make a ned there in the name of the Avodah Zarah and then you're makayim, then you don't get malchus. Ma'ishla noider b'shmo v'makayim b'shmo de lo laki mishum davalei lav shein b'maisa. Making a ned there, there's no action. You just spoke. So we go and get malchus. Well, Hananami, if you hug and kiss, maybe we shouldn't get malchus because lav shebechlolasu. This lav flows from a general klal, which I learned a lot of things from it. The basic pasuk of the Avodah Zarah pasuk, and ein loikin a lav shebeklolos. You don't give malchus for a lav that flows out of a general klal. And where do we see this principle? The Tanya. Minayin loichlam and abeim according to shetetzei nafshashu below sase. If you eat from an animal before it died, you're over a lav. Talmud loimer lo yisoichlu al adam. While the dam nefesh is still there, you may not eat. Davar acher lo yisoichlu al adam. Lo yisochlu basar v'adayim dam b'mizri. When you shech the korban, you must do zrika of the dam before you eat the meat. You're not allowed to eat the meat while the blood is still in the bowl before it was thrown. Rav Doisom Minayin she'ein mavrin ala haruge bezdin. Normally, when a person dies, the family eats a sudas avra after they bury him. But if the person was killed by bezdin, there's no food given to the avelim. Talmud Omer lo yisochlu al adam. Don't eat on somebody who's killed by bezdin. Rabbi Kiva Minayin Sanhedrin Shargus on Nefesh, a Sanhedrin that carried out capital punishment. Ein Tormin Klum Kolos Hayom. They have to fast the whole day. Talmud Omer lo yisochlu al adam. Don't eat when you're involved with blood. Rav Yochanan. Azara leben Sora Moira Minayin. Where we see the punishment in the parsha of Ben Sora Moira, it says skila. Where's the law? Talmud loymar lo yisochlu al adam. You can't eat and drink which is in the end going to lead to death. And he's bringing his own death on his head. Rav Avin bar Chiya v'itema Rav Avin bar Kahana al kulam, on all these isurim, ein eloke mishum dahavale lav shebeklolis. These are all dinim that appear in a general pasuk. So Magadif Menashek is all learned from Lav Shebeklos. Also, we shouldn't get Malchus. It's a Kashan Rav Dimi. Ela Kiyasa Ravin, Amar B'Shem Rabbi Lozer. Al Kulon, on all these Averis that are mentioned in the Mishnah, you're over a Lav, but ain't a Loike. Chutz Min HaNoider B'Shmo V'Makayim B'Shmo. It's just the opposite that we learned before. Before we said all of them get Malchus except for the Noider. Here, none of them get Malchus except if you're Noider and Makayim it. So we understand now why the Gemara made a turn and said that on all of these you don't get Malchus because they flow from a Lav Shebeklolis. Well, Haninami, Hanoider Makayim in the name of the Avodah Zarah is Lav Shem Bo Maiseninu. Making a neder is a speech. You shouldn't get Malchus for that. So it's the sheet there, more answers Rabbi Eliezer, according to Rabbi Yehuda, who hold Lav Shem Bo Maisa Loikin Lav. That even Dibur, which is not a Maisa, you can get Malchus. The Tanya. By the Korban Pesach, it says, Lo soisir mimenu ad boiker. Don't leave meat behind till the morning, left over from the Korban Pesach. It's a lav of nosoisir. And then vanoisar mimenu ad boiker ba'esh tisrofu. If you did leave noiser, you have to burn it. Ba kasuv litein asay, there's a mitzvah asay of ba'esh tisrofu after the los asay of los osir. Loy marshein loikin alav. Any lav that has a tikkun through a maisa of the lav, you don't get malchus. Kol lav shenitik lasei. So here as well, you have a lav that if you left over meat of the Korban Pesach, what do? You burn it. That's the takon of the noiser. So, Rabbi Yehuda says you don't get a malchus for such a thing. Rav Yaakov Omer lo min Hashem uzeh. He says, I agree with you that you don't get malchus, but it's not for the reasoning you gave. And the mishum dahayale lav shei b'maisa, leaving over. You didn't do anything. You just sat there. It's a shei val taisa. And kol lav shei b'maisa loikin alav. Now, Michlal Rav Yehuda Savar, that even though a lav shei b'maisa loikin alav. So here as well, a noider b'shmo v'makayim b'shmo, where you get malchus, it's according to Rabbi Yehuda, that lav she'en b'maisa, you do get malchus. Okay. Hanoider b'shmo, you make a neder in the shame of Avodah Zarah. And then Mekayim b'shmo, then you fulfill the neder in the name of the Avodah Zarah. Hareza below sase. It's a lav. Minolan. It says, V'shem elim achrin lo saskiru, lo yishamal picha, shlo yomer adam lechavero, shmorli b'tzad Avodah Zarah ploinis. Wait for me next to one of these idols. Lo yishmal picha, shlo yidor bishmo. Don't make a neder in the name of the Avodah Zarah. Lo yikayim bishmo. Don't fulfill it. Lo yigrom lacherim, to make a neder bishmo v'yikayim bishmo. Davar acher, lo yishamal picha. That's azara lemesis lemediach. Somebody who's trying to incite either an individual or a whole city, that's the law of lo yishamal picha. Macy's, what do you have to learn from here? Lo yishamal picha. What do you learn? You already learned ba'adei ksiv. It says v'chol Yisrael yishma'u v'yira'u v'lo yosifu lasos kadavar hazeh b'kirbecha. It says lo yosifu. Don't do it. El azar lemediach This is a lav for somebody who is meidich the rabbim to do avodah zarah. There's no lav, so it's learned from here. Then we learned lo yigrom lachem sheyidru bishmo v'shikayim bishmo. Don't cause other people to make a neder in the name of the avodah zarah to be makayim. Messiah lavud Shmuel. This supports the father of Shmuel. Also, l'odam sheyasa shutafot im anochri. You're not allowed to go into business partnership with a non-Jew. They might come to an argument. V'shema yischayev lo shvua. The goy is going to have to take a shvua. V'nishba v'avodah zarah shelo. V'atorah omer lo yishma al picha. The name of an avodah zarah should not be induced by you or to be goyremid. So the halacha flows from there that you're not allowed to have a non-Jewish partner because he's going to make a shvua. The Shulchan Aruch says you should be careful to make a partnership because maybe it'll come that he's going to make a shvua. He says with his manenu makilin bezeh. Even sherova nochrim mamini b'Hashem u'kedushas haTorah. Shulchan Aruch says that. Since today most goyim believe in God and they believe in the holiness of the Torah. And even if they do shituf, right, they throw in Yoshka, where they're adding him through shituf, their kavanah is to the creator of the world, and not to the avodah zarah. That's how the Ramah learns. We know the Ram, and that's how Tosfos learns that shituf for a nachri is not a significant problem. This is a controversial machlokas. The Sfardim are more stringent. Kiyotza ula bas bekalnevo. He rested in a place called Kalnevo. Amar Rav Vehecha Basmar. He asked him, "Where are you sleeping?" So he said, "Bekalnevo." Apparently, Kalnevo was the name of Avodah Zarah, and he was afraid that Ula was uttering the name of Avodah Zarah. This is from where the Chabad people, they say Simcha Monica or Simcha Barbara, right? They don't call it by its regular name. So, Hachi Yom Rav Yochanan, Kol Avodah Zarah K'suv b'Torah muter la'azkir shmo. If the Avodah Zarah is mentioned in the Torah, you can mention it. V'ha'echa ksiva. So where is the name of this Avodah Zarah written? So he said, "Dichsiv Kara bal Koras Nebo." So this Koras Nebo is this Kal Nebo. Then we ask, "V'ilo ksiva lo." What? So if it's not written in Tanakh, we would not be able to say the name. Masif Rav Masharshe. Ra achas meruba kisholish. Now, a Zav becomes a male Zav and he sees 3 seminal emissions. And he sees it for a time, Shehi ki megadyon l'shilo, the time that it takes you to walk from Gadyon to Shiloh. Shehein shtei tfilos u'shnei sfukim. 2 times that you could go to the mikveh and 2 times that you could wipe yourself with a sponge. Harezes of gomer. And you don't need 3 different. That means if the seminal emissions is a long period of time, and it is emitting throughout that period of time, you become a zav gomer. Even you didn't see 3 different ones. However, we bring this because the word gadyon is the name of Avodah Zarah. On Ravina, Gad nami michtiv ksivi. Because it says ha'erchim legad shulchan. And therefore, we have this rule, if it's mentioned in the Torah, you can mention it. On Rav Nachman. Kol etzinus asira chutz min etzinus v'azor deshari. Making jokes, like, like a comedian, that's late son, like being a clown. A person's not to be involved in late sons, except by avodah zarah. If you make fun of the avodah zarah and make people laugh because of it, that's okay. Because it says, Kara bal keres nevo, Kar so kar yachtav, lo yachlu maleit masa. Pasuk in Iyuv. I'm sorry, it's a pasuk in Yeshayahu. So this was an avodah zarah that when they would bow down, they would squat to go to the bathroom, and they couldn't hold it back. Uksiv dibru la golois based on yagiru shachen shamron ki avel alav imo kumar v'alav yagilu al kvodo ki gola mimenu pasuk in Hosea. I'll take rakvodo el kvedo. That means the burden of his excrement. So when you're referring to avodah zarah, which these psukim are referring to, you're allowed to do it because it's a bizayon for them. On Rav Yitzchak, my dichsiv, v'ata yosifu lachtov yasu lahem masecha mechaspam kitvunam atzavim masecha reshim kalalem eim omrim zovchei adam agalim yishokun. Again in pasuk in Hosea. My kisvonim atzavim. Malamit shekol echad ve'echad asa demus yiraso. Everyone made an image of their idol. Umenicha b'kisu, put him in his pocket. B'shas shezoichro, when they mention it, motzim mitocheko, they would take it out of their pocket. Mechabko menashkan, hug it and kiss it. My zovchei adam agolim yishakun. Rav Yitzchak Ravami shay kumar noisem enem b'balei mamoin. The priests of the avodah zarah found the wealthy people. Umarivin es agolim. They would starve the calves that they had for avodah zarah. V'osin dmus atzovim. They would make an idol or a statue of these wealthy people. Umamidim b'tzad avusein. They would place these statues next to where the calves are going to eat. Umotzino sam lachutz. They would take the calves outside. Kivan sharo son. Now, when the actual live person who was wealthy would show up, and they were so used to seeing the statues of these people when they ate, rotzen achreim umashmin behem. They would try to have relations with the person. And the priest would say, avodah zarah chafetz b'cha. You see, the avodah zarah wants you. It's trying to kiss you or lick you. Yavo v'yizbach atzmalo. They would convince the person sort of to commit suicide based on this, whatever happened here, to the idol, and they would inherit all their wealth. Amar Rava, it's not so clear that it's correct. Hai zivchei adam agolim yishakun, agolim yishakun lezovech adam aboy. The pasuk would have to be written a different way to explain the way you said. El Amar Rava, kol hazavechas b'nol avodah zarah. Whoever shechts his son for the avodah zarah, Amar lo, doron gadol ikrivlo. You offered a great prize to the avodah zarah. So yavav yishaklo. The schus is that you can come and kiss the idol. That's what it means. Zovchei Adam, somebody who offered his child. The schar would be the agolim would kiss them. Rav, the people who remember the king of Ashur took the 10 tribes into Golos, and then he populated the area of Shomron with the Shomronim. And the pasuk says, we learned this Lachim Beis Yud Zayin, Anshe Bavel Asuas Sukos Banos. What is this? My new, it's an Avodah Zarah. It's Tarnagoilis, it's like a rooster. Vansha Kus, Asuas Nargol. Right, these are the Kusim they made in Nargol. My new Tarnagol. Vanshe Chamas Asuas Hashima. What's this? My new Barcha Karcha. Like a bald goat. Ve'ha'avim asu nivchaz ve'startek. My new kelev v'chamor. A horse, a dog and a donkey. Vasfarvim srafim es pneihem ba'esh lader melech van melech loetz furam. My new haperet v'asus. They would offer their children to like a mule and a horse. And why were they called Adar Melech? The Adar Leila More. It makes the master happy because these are schlepping all of his burdens. Va'an Melech, they called the horse An Melech, the Ani Leila More Bekirba. He helps the master during battle. Av Chizke Melech Yudah Bikesh Aviv Lasos Lakein. Chizkiah Melech's father wanted to carry him through the Moilech. Ela shesachso imo salamandra. He wasn't burned because his mother anointed him with salamander oil, and I guess it prevented him from being burned. The Jews knew that the Avodah Zarah didn't have any power. So why were they worshiping Avodah Zarah? Well, Avdu Avodah Zarah l'kedei la'atir lehem arayos before Hesya. They wanted to have orgies. They wanted to do sexual immorality in public. And the whole Avodah Zarah led to that. And that's why they were so connected to their Avodah Zarah. Mostly from Mesharshe. Kizchor b'nei mizbechosam va'asherehem al eitz ranan al gvaot hagvahot. Pasuk in Yirmiyahu. Vam Rabbi Lazar k'adam sheyesh lo gagim al b'no. Somebody misses his child. That's how they remember their Avodah Zarah. Which implies that they weren't missing the Avodah Zarah because it was allowing them to do sex. They actually missed the Avodah Zarah. They believed in it. So the Gemara answers, Basar Davikube. That's after once they cleave to the Avodah Zarah, then they started to believe in it. But in the beginning, the whole reason they ran after Avodah Zarah was for their taiva, torshma. In the Toichacha of Bechukosa, it says, "V'nosatias pigrechem al pigrei gilulechem." I'll put your bodies on the bodies of the idols. Amru Elio Atzadik Hay Mechazral Tapuche Rav B'Yerushalayim. Remember, Elio was goyzer that no rain should fall, and people, during famine, people swell up. So Elio Navi went around in Yerushalayim. He saw these people were swollen from famine. There was a child who was swollen. He was in the garbage dump. What family are you from? Amrlo, mishpacha ploinisani, and he from this and this family. Amrlo, klum nishtayr moisa mishpacha. There are people left from this family. Amrlo, lav chutz mimeni. I'm the last one. Amrlo, imanim lamcha davar shata chaybo ata lomet. If I teach you something that you're going to live, will you study it? Amrlo, hein. Amrlo, emor b'chol yom shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem echad. Say every day the pasuk of Shema. Amrlo, has shelo lahaske b'shem Hashem. He didn't even want to listen to Eliyahu Navi saying Shema, Shalom Aviv Imo. His parents had never taught him the name of Hashem.
Long daf.